You know those people who seem to accomplish amazing things, but you never hear them complain or talk about their struggles? Well, today we're digging into a really powerful philosophy from 1979 that says that's exactly the point. It champions the idea that true greatness isn't found in what you say, but in quiet, determined action.
So let me ask you something, because we've all been here. When life gets hard, when you're facing a real challenge, what's your gut instinct? Is it better to talk about it, to let people know what you're going through, or do you just put your head down and push through it in silence?
We're diving into a speech from 1979 called Let Us Analyze Ourselves. And it doesn't just ask that question, it gives a pretty provocative answer, one that really pushes back against our modern world where sharing everything is kind of the norm.
At its heart, the speech basically splits everyone into two categories. And it's not about being good or bad, it's all about how we react when the pressure's on.
Okay, so here are the two types. On one hand, you have the talkative person. Now, this isn't just someone who likes to chat. It's the person who feels they have to explain their situation, justify why things are tough, and maybe look for a quick way out. But on the other side, you have the reticent person. This person has what the speech calls internal sustaining power. They don't need to explain themselves because they're 100% focused on getting through the problem. And get this. Here's where the speech makes a huge claim. It says that history isn't just shaped by this quiet, persevering type of person, it's actually built by them. The people who make those gigantic contributions are the ones who work silently with this hidden depth, not the ones who broadcast their every move. So if that silent, determined person is the ideal for us humans, the speech then looks even higher for the ultimate, perfect example of this whole idea. This speech argues that God's single most defining quality isn't, almighty power or anything like that. It's a profound, unwavering silence. Just think about that for a second. A silence that's been held throughout all of history, even when there are, as the text says, millions and billions of things to explain. And it points to this pattern again and again. From the Garden of Eden to the crucifixion of Jesus, and all the way to the chaos of our modern world. The argument is that the response is consistently silence, even when faced with unbelievable suffering and injustice. This quote, which is framed from God's own perspective, really gets to the core of why. It suggests the silence isn't cold or indifferent. It's the quiet focus of someone who has a long-term mission, a mission of restoration, driven by hope, not by the need to complain or justify themselves. But okay, it's not about being quiet just for the sake of being quiet. That powerful silence has to be aimed at something. It has to be channeled toward what the speech calls a public purpose. And the speech lays out this really interesting kind of ladder of purpose. It starts with serving your nation, then it gets bigger, serving the world, then even bigger, to the spirit world. And each step up asks for a wider point of view until you get to the very top, serving God. That's presented as the ultimate public cause, the one for which anything else can be sacrificed. So this all ties back into what makes a true leader. They're not the loudest person in the room or the most reactive. No, the ideal leader is that deep-thinking, patient person who can take the hits, absorb criticism, and just quietly keep working for the good of everyone. Okay, so that's the big picture philosophy, right? But what does this actually look like in the real world? How do you do it? Well, the speech doesn't just leave us hanging with an abstract idea. It gives a surprisingly down-to-earth personal example. And the example is maybe not what you'd expect. We're talking about the world of tuna fishing in Gloucester, Massachusetts. Reverend Moon talks about his own time there, and he frames it as a kind of battlefield, a place to put this whole philosophy of silent action to the ultimate test. So, a few key lessons came out of that time on the water. It was about pure discipline, outworking the seasoned pros just by getting up earlier and staying out later. It was about innovation. He even developed a new fishing method that others started using. The bottom line was that respect wasn't earned by talking a big game. It was earned through quiet, consistent results that broke records. And this wasn't just about personal success. These quiet actions had a huge, tangible impact on the community. By raising the standards and introducing better methods, the price that fishermen got for their tuna at the dock just exploded. We're talking from 10 cents a pound to over $1.75, with projections hitting $5. That's the kind of change that revitalizes an entire local economy. This quote really just nails the whole point of that story. All those long hours, the hard work, the innovation, it's all seen as a sacrifice. And the core idea is that real sacrifice doesn't need a spotlight. It's done quietly. So let's pull all this together.
After all the philosophy and the real-world examples, what's the big takeaway? According to this speech, what's the true measure of a person's greatness?
It all boils down to this one powerful idea. The true greatness isn't found in explaining yourself or justifying your struggles. It's achieved by silently pushing through, persevering, and dedicating all that hard work to a cause that is way bigger than you are.
And that leaves us with a huge question, one that feels even more important today than it did back in 1979. We live in an age of constant self-expression, where we're told to share every thought, every feeling, every struggle. So in a world like this, what power have we lost by forgetting the simple, focused strength of silent action?